All right, welcome to my FX Buddies podcast. And I say podcast because there's other mediums to enjoy this content. It's late. It's still Wednesday, March 12th, but so I'm skipping all that stuff. You know where to find me. Um, my FX Buddies is what I post under wherever I post, but I do want to say the blog, right? Because I always tell you that's the best place to go is to the blog because the articles are there in full. The blog is free. You don't have to put your email address. You just click the link or type it in and go, and the blog is there. And it is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And I know that's a lot to type, so wherever you are taking in this information, look for a more info, uh, open, description, something like that type of button, and you click on that, and another box opens that has links, at least two, but it always has the link to the blog. All right? Okay, so let's get into it. Every day there's just news, news, news. And it's Ramadan. So it's like, aren't you guys supposed to be partying and celebrating and giving honor to your God and everything? But I do think they're trying to get as evidence of trying to get this and other things done. That's why there's so much activity, right? I feel that, and I hope people can see that too. And if you're not in this, which you shouldn't be in this like I am. I've started. It's almost like an addiction. Um, but then also, if you miss a day or two, it's hard to catch up because new news is always coming out, right? So, but anyway, yeah, so this is the title article. IMF discusses strengthening Iraqi dinar. So, this is what we need, right? We need to see them talking about strengthening the Iraqi dinar. And this writing's a little small. The Now we know the IMF is always, I believe, the IMF is always there. World Bank is always there. And this, remember they used to do Article 4 consultations? I don't know if you remember. This little article right here reminds me of like a mini Article 4 consultation. But I think they're done doing those. But since they're still under kind of like guardianship, Iraq is, even though they don't want to admit that, it seems they had to do this type of report. But it's nice, succinct, has all the information, just right here with no fluff. And so this is a key discussions included. Other stuff you could read that. Of course, the number one thing is what it's oil, but they're talking about the non-oil GDP growth because they are expanding their non-oil revenue, but they could do it a lot faster if they were unleashed, right? But here, expand collaboration with international correspondent banks to facilitate. Geez, even Telegram is going off. All right, expand collaboration with international correspondent banks to facilitate trade financing, and then increased use of the Iraqi dinar in major transactions to strengthen the national currency. So they're having this conversation, if not daily, every other day, right? And that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Okay, this guy. Here is Samir al-Nasari. I think this is 3 days in a row where he's had articles. This one's really long, or I should say this is a longer one. So if you don't read it, I don't blame you. Um, there's no new information in here either, just a reiteration of the good things that they've been doing since 2023, 2024. Here's all the countries they're working with and defeating stagflation, all of that. So it's good. It's always good. Well, I'd say the past 6 months, it's always been good, right? But before that, he didn't hold punches. He would point out, um, you know, the weaknesses, the failures. But yeah, okay, so here's the best part probably right here. The central bank is proceeding steadily to achieve the objectives of monetary policy in reducing inflation and controlling the general price level. This is what it recently announced, that the annual inflation rate reached 2.8%, basic rate 2.5%, as well as controlling the money supply and maintaining the exchange rate of the dinar within the balanced price and trading market, blah, 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 right? So, yeah. All right, let's see. All because our, whatever that name is there. Oh, calls on government to clarify the reasons for the delay in submitting the budget schedule. And like, they're really going to tell them. I mean, Sadani could go on stage and be like, what do I always say? You dirty dogs, I can't trust you. I can't trust you with the information, so that's why you're not getting it, right? But he's not going to do that. I would do that, and see, that's why I don't run anything. All right. Um, excuse me. Next article. Through the economic paper, the coordination framework calls for an end to American blackmail of the Iraqi government. And I was saying, ah, blackmail is such a harsh term. Can't we just say carrot and stick? Blackmail is racist, right? No, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. We're holding, we have major um, segments of their society is in our hands, right? So we can do that. It's just years ago, they wouldn't be bold enough to call it out. But now this is, oh, I left that out. But on Wednesday, Isam Shakar, is that how you say that? And so he's the coordination framework, which are mostly what Iranian-backed politicians, right? So of course he's not worried. He feels he's well protected because who's backing him, right? So you can read that, and that's one of those articles. If you're a person that doesn't understand, how can we be running them? How can they, on one half in the media, be presented as a sovereign nation? And you can look up at least 5 former presidents. Well, what was she? Secretary of State? Madam Secretary of State? I'm not going to say her name. They're all on video saying Iraq is a sovereign nation. But when you read that article, you'll see they're not, right? If they were sovereign, how could we blackmail them, right? Okay, so this is the thing I may have talked about. Sadani did something, and I think it was something we wanted him to do. I still don't understand. I don't really want to understand. Remember? So here it is. The government withdraws the popular mobilization law from Parliament. So this law is going to pay these forces, popular mobilization forces. It's going to give them a retirement plan, back pay perhaps. But he pulled it, and I think that was from under pressure from us. So if that is the key, then that's a good thing, right? Then that's one thing we could check off and say, okay, let's move a little bit more forward because you did that for us. So we'll see. Time will tell. Parliamentary Finance Committee says to the news, U.S. veto disrupts gas imports from Turkmenistan for this reason. So it shows you how Iraq really is a key, I hate to say it, major puzzle piece, but a key uh, location for lots of things, right? And they really are connected and depend that region. I mean, at one time it was all one land, right? But through wars and marriages over centuries, it's been split up, right? So it's them trying to keep their regions and their borders in their power. They do have to work together. So when one thing gets cut off, it affects the next region and the next region, right? And so here's an explanation of that. And look at, these are all the people that were at the meeting. If you want to look, they always have such pretty flowers, but if you blow that up too much, it gets blurry. All right. Ooh, that's a. So here again, they're talking about Iraq is preparing to launch the digital dinar, a step towards a cashless economy. And I put here, I don't think there's any new information here. It's just another day, another publication. They put this out for citizen education, right? It's explaining, this does explain the difference between cryptocurrencies and the central bank, which, what are they calling it? The digital national currency. They're not calling it a CBDC. They're calling it the digital national currency. Yeah, so they're really trying to get the people to understand. So one day when they wake up and go, hey, this digital money isn't as good as we thought it was, they can say, hey, we tried to tell you, right? That's what they do. Let's see, there's some bolded parts in here, but like I said, it's not new information, right? Oh, you could look at parts that I put, well, you can read the whole thing, but it's long. And like I said, I don't really think there's new information. See, rapid development of digital services worldwide. And we have to be the ones to say no, right? Who will? Who will say no? Switzerland or one of those countries, they remember they were one of the first ones to go, we're going cashless. And then they got down to like 9% or maybe even 3% cash. And now they're realizing it wasn't such a good thing. And so now they want to bring cash back. So, it has its place. There are times when it's good to pay digitally. And if people weren't so corrupt, right? If we didn't have corrupt people, then it would be a good thing. But it's, human nature is what it is, no matter where in the world, right? There's corrupt people everywhere. But anyway, all right, here's my one commercial. Buy me a coffee. Thank you to those of you who have and those of you who are thinking about it. There's a link. The words are a link and then the QR code is there. Thank you. It really helps. All right. It amounts to 216 trillion. 16 trillion what? Dinars. A date has been set for submitting the budget tables to Parliament. Woohoo! It doesn't matter anyway. Because after this came out, well, let me take that back. Okay, I do like them. So they're putting out the total figure, right? The bottom line. I was gonna say the bottom line, but I don't really like that. The total figure for the. Okay, excuse that mishap. Something has happened to the microphone. So I'm going to end this here. I'm going to attempt to put this little slice of video at the end of the other one. And I had pretty much covered everything anyway, but there are still some good articles you may want to go to, especially this last one here. This may explain a lot of the holdup. So if you can see that, Iran may lose Iraq. Trump, jeez, I try not to say that. The new president and the possibility of exploiting fear in nuclear negotiations. It could be part of the holdup. So if you want to skip the whole other part of the blog and just go down to the last article, because it's a little long, but see this Sudanese concessions. This is Sudani. They print his name that way sometimes. And the cash cow, and that's what's happening. We're cutting off access to their cash cow because, they can only be our cash cow, right? Anyway, okay, so let's see if this works. Thank you. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals. Pay all your bills. What else? Click, join, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, I don't know what happened. Whatever, right? It is what it is. So hopefully this is gonna work and it won't just have cut off abruptly. I'll still try to put the link to episode 40. If you didn't see episode 40 was really good, in my opinion. All right, until next time.